All right, y'all, this video was on MR support 4B. Okay, so this one's going to go over decimals and percents and fractions and how you convert between the three of them. Okay, so we're going to share our screen and start our notes. So here we go. So the first one wants me to find decimal notation, and this will be number one. All right, so find decimal notation of 78%. So to convert from a percent to a decimal, technically right now the decimal's behind the 8. That's why we don't have to show it. So to convert from a percent to a decimal, you move this decimal left 2 units and you drop the percent. So 78% becomes 0.78. Or you could write it as 0.78, okay? So it'll take that either way. Number two, we're still finding decimal notation. All right, so let's see what they're giving me. They're giving me 42.8%. So the decimal is definitely behind a 2, so we're going to move this left 2 units so that I get a 0.428. And let's see, they want me to keep all the decimal units, all the place values, so that's final answer. So moving it left 2 units. Now this one we're going to find percent notation. So we're going to go the other way. So they're giving me 0.25. So to go from a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal to the right and add the percent symbol. So I'd move this decimal right twice. So that's going to give me 25, and then we add the percent. Percent. Now MATLAB gives you the percent, so all you're going to do is put in the 25. Okay. All right, same thing. So we're going to find percent notation, and they're giving me 0.03. So once again, I'm going to move my decimal right twice. Now, since these decimals are before my 3, I do not have to write them because 0.003 is the same thing as a 3. So I write my 3 and then my percent. Okay, so I don't have to put any zeros if they're before the first non-zero number, okay? All right, y'all, 5. Same thing, find percent notation. But this time they're giving me a fraction of 6/100. So the easiest way is to turn this fraction into a decimal, and then I'll turn the decimal into a percent. So I'm going to go on my calculator and let that thing do my dividing. So I'm going to do 6 divided by 100. That's going to give me 0.06. But remember, I need to go to percent, so I need to move the decimal right twice. So that gives me a 6, and then add my percent. Once again, I didn't have to write them zeros that came before my 6, okay? All right, same thing on number 6 here. Six here wants me to find percent notation. And y'all, once again, they're giving me a fraction of 3/5. So let me turn my 3/5 into a decimal. So 3 divided by 5, enter. I get 0.6. So remember, I got to move this right twice to turn it into a percent, which means on this one, I have to add a 0 as a placeholder. So that 0.60 becomes 60, and then add our percent, okay? And y'all remember, you could be doing these by hand. 3 divided by 5. So remember, 5 don't go into 3, so you would add a decimal and a 0. So your decimal is going to go there. So 5 didn't go into 3, was a 0. 5 goes into 30 6 times, so 6 times 5 is 30. 0 remainder, and there's my 0.6, which could be a 0.60 when I add the 0 and turn it into percent. All right, this one wants me to express as a decimal and percentage. Okay, sorry, I accidentally ran into that there, okay? But that says percentage. And they're giving me 7/10. So first I'll find my decimal. And then I'll find my percentage. All right, so let's see. My decimal will be what? 7 divided by 10, which gives me 0.7, or you could write 0.7, either way. Now remember, to turn it into a percent, I need to take that 0.7, which was my decimal form, and move that right twice. So that's going to give me a 70, and then add my percent. Now remember, MATLAB's going to give you the percent, so you just write the 70. So this one says find percent. So we're just going to keep switching back and forth until y'all get used to moving them decimals. And this is a 1/3. So to find percent, I'll turn my 1 divided by 3 into a, whoops, what happened there? 1 divided by 3, that's going to give me 0.3333. And it keeps on going, okay? But let's see, they want us to round this to the nearest 10th when we're done with our percent. So let's see, let me move this decimal once, twice. So it's going to be behind the second 3 with my decimal. So I'm going to have a 33 point. Now since I'm rounding to the nearest 10th, I look at the number that's in the 10th spot, which is the 3. Since the number after it is smaller than a 5, I'm going to keep that a 3 and then add my percent. Okay. So they just wanted me to go 1 decimal place to the tenths. All right, this one says find percent notation. So it's doing the same thing as number 8. And they're giving me a 5 divided by 6. So remember, once again, I'm going to do 5 divided by 6, turn that into a decimal, and I get 0.83333. It keeps on going forever. So to turn that into a percent, I'm going to move the decimal right twice. So it's going to be behind the 83. And we're still rounding to the nearest 10th, so that's going to be a point. So I'm looking at that 3 again. It's in the 10th spot. Since the number behind it is lower than a 5, that's going to stay a 3. All right, y'all, I got one more to do. This was going to be a short little support lesson. So number 10, they want me to express as a decimal and percent. And they're giving me 3/8. So I'll get my decimal first. and then I'll do my percent. All right, so the decimal will be 3 divided by 8, which is 0.375. Now, they want me to round this 2 decimal places, so that'll be 0.38. So 2 decimal places will be where the 7 is. Since that is 5 or greater, I make that a 8. Now, my percentage, I would actually go off of this decimal before I round it. So to move this twice, I would get a 37. So that's going to be 37.5. But remember, they want me to go 2 decimal places. So since I didn't have a number after the 5, I would put a 0 and then my percent. So you can't go off of the rounded version of the decimal to get your percent. You got to go off of the actual answer we got. Move it twice, make that a 37.5, and then you had to add a 0 to give it 2 decimal places, okay? So y'all, that was it for my little support lesson for 4A. I mean for 4B. This was 4B. And we just did this to get you ready for the actual homework problems in 4B, okay? So I'm going to stop this share. And I'm going to end this video, and good luck.